All right, the stream is live and happening. What's going on, everybody? Yo, it's your boy, Bobby P, booming at you live from the A3. Yo, what's up, internets? Sorry, I got to get my hip hop on this morning. What's going on, everybody? How is it? How is it out there in there? The sun has just now started to shine the moment the show started to stream. It's a very good sign. Very, very good sign. We're now streaming live over on 15 Minutes of Flame, and the stream is going to start to happen over on YouTube. In fact, I can see my image happening over there. There's my face. I'm not saying anything. It's a bit of a time delay. I'm slightly ahead of the rest of you. That's okay. It's always been that way. But everybody's catching up now. It's great. Don't feel so alone anymore. Had a really nice, good, interesting chat with Jack McCune, who has a little podcast stream he's doing called Good Vibrations, and we hung out for about an hour yesterday and got into astrology and numerology, the cards of life, stuff like that. It's pretty fun, and Jack's just getting his wings with his stream and podcast, so check him out. He's a really good dude, and he knows a lot about the cards of life and cartomancy, so you may learn a few things from Jack along the way. Did that yesterday. Another thing I did yesterday is I had a victory. I had a customer service victory, and I know all of you are thrilled about that, but how many times have we dealt with customer service? It's just been a nightmare. Well, guess what? I have to tell you that if the truth is on your side with customer service, you'll prevail. And that's what happened to me yesterday. I'm fixing up an old truck, and I bought some parts online. And one of the things that happened was that I ordered, you go in, you do a search, right? You type in your parameters, what you're looking for, and then it pops. It's like, oh, wow, what a great deal. You go in there, you look, specs line up, okay. Look at the shipping, time, okay, I can kind of live with that. Give the information, CC, submit, boom. It's on its way. Yes, but there are things that are revealed to you on the other side of that transaction. So once you shimmy over that paywall, they tell you that, well, it'll take you about 48 hours. Actually, that's up front. They say it may take up to 48 hours for us to process your order, which I think is bogus, to be honest with you. Like, if you say you have it, and we're living in the world of electronic and digital information, kind of real-timey stuff, that should happen in, I think, 24 hours. But I'm like, okay with that. But then once I submitted the order, then I got an email, which I didn't really read. It's like you just, you read the sheet, you go, okay, there's the order number, that's the price, everything lines up. So apparently they have this little caveat that says, well, if we can't find the part, then we're going to have to take more time to do this and do this and do this. I'm like, so I looked, and I looked at it's like, well, why haven't, I got an email from this company, and they said, well, we've alerted UPS about your order. That's 48 hours later. Well, why? You're just alerting them now. Could you've sent them the label, 24 hours ago? So then I find out that they did not have the part in their main warehouse, so they had to go to their secondary warehouse. And of course, that takes more time, and that's part of the disclaimer that comes with the email that they sent after you send them money. I said, that's not right. I said, if I wanted that part now, or within a 24-hour period, I should know that you guys might do this, and that part really isn't available. You're telling me it's available, but you're going to have to go search it out in one of your warehouses to find out that it's available. And that could take more time, and you're not telling me that. It's not informed consent. You're not allowing me to have the information up front so I can say yes or no. This is something that's become a much bigger part of my life with lucidity and sobriety, right? Lucidity and sobriety. It's all about, you begin to see, where do we chime in with informed consent? What do we share up front? What do we expect others to share up front? So it's been a really interesting journey into that world. Of course, that's what we're building our fluoride campaign on. Anyway, I got boosted up to a supervisor level. Very nice. I've been noticing, I think most of the customer service calls probably go to the Philippines because they can speak pretty decent English there. Anyway, they always call you sir. It's like Sir Robert, Sir Mr. Morris. I'm like, it's kind of weird to be called sir. That's an old school affectation. Anyway, I got my shipping free because the woman actually agreed with me. She said, "You're right. We should be telling people up front." So it's the little things in life sometimes that make the world just go a little bit smoother and a little bit better. Because sometimes you get into customer service, you're in a Kafka novel, and it's not very fun. Let's see what's happening over in Chatlandia, over on the YouTube side of things. Let's see what we got going over there. Let's do the morning meet and greets. Natasha, snowy here in 32. There's Justice. Hi, Justice. Charles, good morning, Robert. Please comment on far hot Brexit, UK departure election today. October in Canada, it's the Trump effect. So Nigel Farage has taken over and created the Brexit Party. We can get into that a little bit. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. There's Ani. You the crown dog. Yeah, baby. Yo! There's Luann. Hi, good morning. Good morning. 108 Dragon 14. One of the funniest people in Chatlandia. Good morning. There's Isla. Good morning. JMP. Good morning to you too. Kenneth, what's going on, Kenneth? Nice to see you. And then there's the lovely Joan S. And then Raven, happy to see you. Well, I don't see you, but I'm happy that you're happy to see me, and I'd be happy to see you if I saw you too. And JMP Love, what's going on over on the Flame side of things? We got Solara and Judy. Judy is bouncing back and forth between websites. Judy's got her hermetic wings going on. Good for you, Judy. All right, you want to get into this Farage thing? Okay, before I get into that, I got a few things. I apologize for not ending yesterday's show a little more gracefully. Left you hanging out there with that disturbing video. And I'm not going to play the video again. I think you guys got the gist of it and kind of where we are. I'll read oh, okay. Before I do this, let me just hear. Before I jump into the Brexit stuff, and then a few other things here along the way. Before I jump into the Brexit stuff, I put a post up on Facebook yesterday, and it was about this nut job, Mazie Hirono, who is a congresswoman from, congresswoman or senator? I got to make sure. I have to make sure here. I have to make sure. Let's see. Hirono. Hold on. Hirono. Let's see, Mazie. Senator, okay, gotta be crisp, gotta be clean, gotta deliver the facts. So I was cruising the internet and I saw that she'd gone to a school, and talked to 8th graders about abortion, and I was stunned. Why would she do that? She was telling 8th graders that their abortion rights were being messed with. Okay, first of all, that's a really tender age. 8th grade, those hormones are coming on. You got the Saturn opposition. Kids are separated away from their families with the Saturn opposition. And she's in a public school setting basically politicizing 8th graders, and I don't think she should have any access to those kids. I'm sorry. That's my point of view. Okay, my point of view. And it doesn't matter whether it's abortion or God. I'll play the other side. Get out of the school. It's not your job. In fact, it's not even the school's job to politicize our kids, and that's unfortunately what's been happening. And sex is politics, and they've gotten into the curriculum of sex and politicize it even more. And it's like, this woman's nuts, man. It's like, just get out of the school. It's a bad look. You don't belong there. And she's on her bullhorn addressing people, telling them about how she went to go visit the 8th graders. So I put this up on Facebook. And a gal I know from California, hadn't talked to her in a long time. Long time. And pretty cool person from when I knew her. She said, well, she never comments on any of my stuff. She saw that. She said, okay, I'm going to chime in. She was like, yeah, but they are under attack. I'm like, okay. So I got a picture of kids from Yemen who are freaked out and traumatized. You want to see what it looks like when kids are under attack? Here, look at this. Those are kids that are under attack. This vapid idea that their rights are under attack is ridiculous. And then she goes into this thing where, look, we all have our red button issues. Hot button, okay? Then she says that men can't have any say in this because we don't have vaginas and we don't have uteruses. I know a few guys that have vaginas. I wouldn't tell them that, though. No, that's a comfort joke. Anyway, I have a vagina every now and then. I'm not afraid to I'm in touch with my inner vagina. When I cook and get into my feminine side, I'm okay with that. I feed my birds every morning. So it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. But I understand what she's saying. And look, there are men who are part of the birth process. They get somebody pregnant and the woman doesn't want the kid. And the guy may want the kid. How does he feel about it? He doesn't get a say? It's like, it takes two to tango for now. One science gets its claws in there. It won't be two to tango anymore. In fact, it could be three to tango, four to tango. It might be a machine to tango. There's a whole different wave that's coming our way. Anyway, I just don't buy that. I don't buy that. So one of the things I was thinking about was, if anything, Misa Hirono, if she wanted to talk to the kids, which I really don't think she should be in the first place anyway, but if she did, she might take a different tack. And that tack would be, sex is a big deal. Birth is a really big deal. Feelings are a big deal. This is a huge responsibility. Before you go out and exercise your right to become pregnant, you may really want to think about the consequences and the choices around a very powerful and profound act. And this has been kind of the reel that I've been on. Like, I'll say something a little controversial. I don't think abortion should be outlawed. I don't. Okay? I think that there's a law in place. I don't think it should be outlawed. But here's what I do think. I do think there needs to be equal amount of time that's invested in getting young people to wrap their heads around the enormity and the immensity of their sexual choices, so that when the time comes, they're very aware of what can take place. And they don't go down that path unless they've really thought it out, really thought it through, and are willing to accept the consequences of that life, or the removal of that life, which has its consequences as well. That's not really talked about in a lot of ways. There are spiritual consequences, there are medical consequences too. So it's kind of like evening out the playing field, having better awareness and play, so that different choices are made. And then the abortion rates go down because people are making better choices. It's across the board. It's got to be in every single part of our society. It's got to happen in the homes. The schools aren't going to do it. So parents have responsibility to really drill down to their kids and say, look, these are really, really important. These are big, big life decisions. These are big moments. These are big feelings. When you bring a life into the body, it's not just some sort of anatomical appendage, right there, But then you would have to have some philosophical and spiritual and religious framework with that too. And I don't have a problem with that either. However you want to couch it. I made the goddess argument last week. You can make any kind of an argument and say, look, this is a spark of life and you're responsible for it. And this is a big deal. You're playing the role of a creator. Think about that. You're playing the role of a creator. Think of all the responsibility that's involved in that. Then maybe what we would see is we see the numbers begin to change. There'd be, more conscious sex, more conscious fertility, and less using Planned Parenthood as a form of contraception, which I really don't agree with. That's where I stand. I'm all for being more informed. And if the schools are going to take this tack around, promoting sex, promoting varieties of sex, which I don't agree with, promoting ideas of contraception and abortion, then they should also be tasked with the philosophical and moral education. And I don't want them doing that either. But if they're going to do one, they should do the other. And if they're not going to do it, then a parent needs to do it and needs to bring it on home. There we go. I'm done with that. All right. Let's get into Farage and Brexit. I'm going to read this. This is from Zero Hedge. Nigel Farage is an Aries, by the way. Of course he's an Aries. He's the guy that's getting it done. Apparently he's also a Mason. Are we going to hold that against him? So how Farage's Brexit party is destroying the UK political establishment. Let me throw this in the link into the chat so you guys can have it as well. I agree. If boys were equally dressed too, I totally agree. Real callous. It's kids. Boys and girls really need to have much longer, stronger, deeper conversations about what they do between their legs so that they really understand it. We don't have children, but I can't imagine sending them to a school anywhere at this point. This is from Chris and Steve. We would have, yes, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I was very fortunate in a lot of ways, timing-wise. We got out of California, let's put it that way. I think there are more people here than YouTube today. Oh, wow, that would be great. That would be cool. Eventually, I just want to stream off of 15 Minutes of Flame. I'm doing all this extra work because of you guys. Because I love you guys. Okay, so we got everything. Let me go back to this Farage piece. Let's see if you have the link. Since Nigel Farage officially launched the Brexit Party 6 weeks during a coming out party in Coventry, Farage and his allies have ridden widespread frustration with a seemingly ineffectual British political establishment to the top of the polls, attracting waves of defectors from the Tories and Labour. So they're getting people. It's like now Nigel Farage is stirring things up a bit. The most recent polls, taken just days before the vote, which for the UK will take place on Thursday, show the Brexit Party is up by double digits over its nearest rival, the Liberal Democrats. Meanwhile, support for Labour and Tories has dwindled. So Nigel Farage is basically reshaping British politics. Takes an Aries. If the Brexit Party succeeds, its candidates will occupy a plurality of the UK's 73 MEP seats. In the European Parliament, they will join a growing group of Eurosceptic parties that have pledged to oppose the Brussels agenda at every turn, where they can change it entirely. Created just 4 months ago after Farage left UKIP, a pro-Brexit party that Farage once led, but that, according to the man who is widely credited as the architect of Brexit, have become increasingly occupied by racists and Islamophobes. Ironically, the New York Times offers one of the most apt explanations of how Farage managed to pull this off. As Brexit chainsaws its way through British politics, dismantling decades-old political allegiances, tearing apart the traditional parties and leaving voters confused, frustrated, and angry, the Brexit Party is thriving by offering a simple and hard-edged message. People feel completely betrayed, they feel abandoned, and they feel even hated and despised by the political class and also by the media. By the way, this is not something that is solely the province of the Brits. It's a global feeling that's rising. Said Martin Daubney, the lifelong Labour voter, now standing for the Brexit Party, who used to edit a raunchy men's magazine before reinventing himself as an anti-pornography advocate. It feels like a grassroots political revolution on the streets of Britain right now. So they're having their MAGA moment. Somebody threw a milkshake on him. How about that? Should the Brexit Party succeed in winning the largest share of the vote this week, it will send an unequivocal message to the dithering Tories. The people want Brexit regardless of the details. A Brexit Party success could give pro-Leave Tories the ammunition they need to see it through. As the Brexit Party has surged in the polls, the backlash from Remainers has intensified, culminating with Farage being milkshaked during a campaign rally in Newcastle. That's where Sting is from, by the way. That's where they build the ships, Newcastle. His assailant was arrested, but the incident was followed on Wednesday by a swarm of protesters holding milkshakes surrounding Farage's campaign bus. According to The Independent, if anything, these incidents have only helped the Brexit Party standing in the polls. Farage appeared to take the attack in stride. Sadly, some Remainers, this is his tweet, sadly, some Remainers have become radicalized to the extent that normal campaigning is becoming impossible. For a civilized democracy to work, you need the loser's consent. Politicians not accepting the referendum result have led us to this. So that's really interesting. You could kind of mirror what happened with Trump and what happened with Brexit. Two events that were pretty much synchronized. And both the opposing sides did not recognize that they lost. They lost. The anti-Brexit people lost. They lost. Tough shit. It's done. It's over. Okay? Hillary Clinton, she lost. And what's happened is that the next 3 years have all been about stalling, jerry-rigging, monkey-wrenching, feet dragging. That's been going on both sides. Now, of the two, I think that the English probably have the kind of the better case. I mean, they voted on as a people, and they should do everything in their power to get the hell out. Theresa May, she was inserted. She was brought in to basically do what she's doing, which is make everything seem a lot more harder than it should be. There's a term for it that's used when one guy is trying to get a girl and then another guy jumps in the way of it. Right? There's a term for that. That's what she's doing. Minus the anatomical illusion. And that's not what the people wanted, but these two things are happening simultaneously. And now, on Nigel Farage's side, I think he's an early Aries, if I'm not mistaken, and Chiron is probably close to his sun. So he's being forced to take a bit of a leadership role, even if he might be a Mason. On the United States side, well, that's a different story. I mean, the people voted, theoretically, from the electoral side of things, for Donald Trump as president. And look, Trump's got skeletons in the closet. He's got skeletons. They're there. Every president has skeletons. And what happened with Comey, Mueller, is that Mueller couldn't get to the basement of the skeletons. Couldn't. Because if he had gone to the basement of the skeletons and he really, 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 really wanted to get involved, excuse me, into what would appear to be Russian collusion, it would be through this guy named Felix Sater, Chabad, Jared Kushner, and the Chabad Russian Mafia. That's where it would have gone. If you wanted to get into that level of collusion, that's where it would have gone. And Trump has a history of dealing with Russian oligarchs and real estate and money coming from the Russian oligarchs. This is going back after the fall of the wall. And that his business was one of a number of fronts for the money to get circulated, especially through the casino world. And Sheldon Adelson probably played a role in that as well. If you want to get down and dirty, that's where it's at. Mueller's not going there. You know why? Because those people are really powerful. Really powerful. So what we saw is some fake Russian collusion bullshit. And we did see it as kind of a mirror of what was going on with the Democrats and their version of it as well. Because they had their version of Russian collusion. It's just a mess. So Trump's got skeletons. It's true. I'll get into something else about Trump a little bit later, which I found out yesterday. And I think it's very interesting and thought-provoking. But the two situations are slightly different, even though they happen simultaneously. One is a national referendum. The other has to do with a national vote and a sealing of the 45th president. And it does affect the country, but it's a persona versus an act. Okay, we'll continue to read. Political opponents who have denounced Farage as a fascist. Now, anytime you have a nationalist point of view and you happen to be white, now you're just a fascist. You're just a fascist now. Unless you are completely involved in self-loathing, completely involved in debasement, always apologizing for who you are, what your skin tone is, and give a shout out and props to socialism and a world without borders. Unless you do that, you're a fascist. This is how the narrative has been constructed now. Those are the things that you have to do in order to not be branded or labeled a fascist. You see how this thing has become absolutely chilling in a lot of ways? Because a lot of people won't want to be branded a fascist. So they go, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I've got to debase myself. I've got to have a ton of guilt. I've got to say that I support open borders and one world government and globalism and all the other identity politics that go along with it. And if I do that, then I'm safe and I'm part of a group and I won't be part of that group. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Terrible how this thing has been constructed. But it's very smart. Though the Brexit Party has been, here, let me do this. Political opponents that denounce Farage as a fascist are having a much harder time arguing against his heterodox slate of candidates. Oh. Which includes several former revolutionary communists who once defended the IRA's deadly bombing campaign. So Farage is dipping his pen in the red ink well. The Brexit Party has been vague about its policy positions, apart from supporting UK's immediate departure from the EU. Even if that means a hard or no-deal Brexit, the party's candidates would probably join with other Eurosceptic MEPs once they take their seats. However, to determine where it stands on other issues, the Brexit Party has said it would set up an online forum where supporters can weigh in, similar to a platform run by the Five Star Movement in Italy. But more than anything else, the Brexit Party has benefited from disillusionment with Theresa May's promise that she would take the UK out of the EU on time and in an orderly manner because Brexit means Brexit. No, it didn't. Her inability to do so may have alienated a whole generation of Tory voters. Doesn't matter what happens from now on, I will never stick a cross in the Tory box ever again, said Andrew Kirby, 44, sitting beside his father. There's nothing that could happen. If the Brexit Party doesn't come to anything, I shall never vote again. Well, that's really interesting because what they're doing now is they seem to be engineering apathy. And Nigel Farage is an interesting guy. He's very charismatic, but he could be just another gatekeeper, another Judas goat. You shall know them by the fruits of their labors. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does over a period of time. He could just be another gatekeeper, another shepherd of the masses. So, but it's interesting that theoretically you got a group of disaffected people and somebody is there to kind of prop that up. I wonder what Steve Bannon's relationship with Nigel Farage is. I bet you he's involved. All right, let's check in with Chatlandia, see how it's going. Good morning, good morning. Everyone I disagree with is a fascist. It's funny. Hey, everyone, now 63 watching. That's cool. Sort of collusion would have been irrelevant because DJT was not a candidate. That's true. I understand that. That's true. But if they went to that, if they really wanted to play that card, if they really wanted to go down into that rat hole, that's where they would go. That's where they would go. There's Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you. Teaching my kids that everyone can be empowered. Let's see what else we have here. Anna, 10-year-old son thinks marketing is centered on girls. That's why don't they want boys? But wow, good job, Anna. I've actually met Anna in person, and she came down to a talk one time that I gave down in Houston. And let's see what we have here. Did you hear anything about UK banning assault milkshakes? Oh, that's funny. That's funny, Brandon. So I met Anna. Anna is a very, very cool person, and she's a healthcare professional. Hopefully, I'm not divulging too much information there, Anna. And somebody who's been connected and kind of in the loop here with me for quite a few years now. So I appreciate you, and doing a good job. I met your husband, and just a good family, and that's what we need. We need good families. We need the fiber that binds us together and allows us to, I'll tell you a quick story here, and then I'm going to shift a little bit. I watch a lot of sports, and I watch sports talk shows. And one of the sports talk shows is a show that Jason Whitlock does. It's called Pardon the Interruption. No, that's Tony Kornheiser. It's Jason Whitlock show. And Jason is an interesting guy. He comes from Kansas. He comes from Indiana originally. Wrote for the Kansas City Star. Sometimes he's on Tucker Carlson. He's not your typical sports pundit. He actually has a brain and thinks, and is about responsibility, accountability. And Jason's become, I think, more involved with Christianity and his faith over the last few years. Even though he still goes to Vegas and likes to gamble, which I don't hold against him at all. And he does some cool things. Like, he went to Ball State, and he brought a young guy from Ball State and went to Jason's high school, brought him on a show. And he kind of has a role in the show as a producer, does some different things. And he brought his uncle Jimmy on the show. This guy Jimmy is a hoot. He plays these characters at the end of every show, and he's very funny. He's very, very funny. So Jason's bringing his family in. And one of the things that he asked Uncle Jimmy about, Steph Curry or LeBron James, who's going to wind up being better. And he said Steph Curry, which surprised me in a lot of ways, because LeBron James kind of checks all those woke boxes, and Uncle Jimmy's woke. And he chose Steph Curry, and the reason why he chose him was interesting. He said because Steph Curry, and look, Steph could be an MK Ultra kid, and his wife, I've heard, could be his handler and all that stuff. That could quite possibly be true in the realm of MK Ultra athletes. Okay, but Steph has a mother, and he's got a father, and he's got a support system, solid family. His brother plays in the NBA. His sister married another player who plays on. No, his sister married somebody. Trying to figure out. His sister married another basketball player. I think it's this guy Damian Lee who's on the Warriors. Anyway, and then he said that LeBron James didn't have that family structure. Single mother, had to grow up to be the man very, very quickly. And he said that the reason why Steph Curry will be more successful is because he had the roots and he had the support system and the team in order for him to move forward in life and be really grounded. This is apart from all the, potential MK Ultra stuff. This is just on Uncle Jimmy's head, right? And I thought, that's really cool. That's cool. And it made sense to me. And he basically said LeBron James is a gypsy. Now, I grew up in a family, 2 parents. Let me tell you, it wasn't always easy. And I didn't have a whole lot of support all the time. So I had to kind of make my way through life and, craft and draft my own position. And I could see where this guy, Uncle Jimmy, was coming from. Because I didn't have anything close to what Steph Curry had. So what it said to me was that we really need to reinvest in our families. We need to reinvest in our families. They're important. They're really important. And I brought that up because, when I connected with Anna, I connected in with her family a little bit. And I know that a lot of us are, disenfranchised, or the threads of our families are, sort of frayed. And I think that's why a lot of us get together and do this every morning, because we are kind of our own little family here, even if it's in the virtual state. But I think that this, when he broke that down, it made so much sense to me. So much sense. Okay. Yesterday, I talked about this whole thing around it's okay to be white. The furor, the absolute furor of this idea that you cannot wear a t-shirt that says it's okay to be white. You can read a t-shirt that could be anything else, insert any other color, and you can put it in there, and it's okay. But not white. And I thought that this is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's part of the mind war. Because that automatically feeds into that fascist narrative. Oh my God, you wear that shirt, you're a fascist. So I came up with a solution to this. I came up with a solution to cut right through, right to the heart of this very stirring debate, the social dilemma, the Gordian knot. Before I do and reveal what my solution is, I wanted to kind of go back in time. My cat was, this morning, she normally wakes me up. Today she wasn't feeling so good. I had to go find her. She was on one of the chairs in my dining room. And she's a calico. You've seen her. She's a beautiful calico. And I was doing some cat research today. And I found, I remember this, John Ashcroft, who was the Attorney General under George W. Bush, he had a fear. He had a fear of calico cats. He believed that calico cats were of the devil. I couldn't believe that. I have the nicest calico. She's the sweetest little cat in the world. Right? Calico cats. There he is. There's the artistic representation of Ashcroft. You'll see it. It's taking a few minutes here to go from source to source, but you'll see it. I'll leave the image up there for a little bit so everybody gets a gander of the calico cat and the John Ashcroft sweating, absolutely sweating it out. Let me see if I can find the original article I have here on Ashcroft. So this is from a website called Truth or Fiction. It's interesting. It's one of these things that's debated. AndrewTobias.com published a story. He told an advance team that was going to The Hague, and Ashcroft was worried that if there were any calico cats there. The reason they explained was that Ashcroft believed that calico cats were a sign of the devil. The story spread via the internet and worked its way into the general media. Ashcroft, a devout Pentecostal Christian, whose critics have used that against him. Tobias was asked later where he got the story about Ashcroft and calico cats. On his website, he said, I got this odd story from someone who was definitely in a position to know and then confirmed it with someone else also in a position to know. So, it's word of mouth. That was on 11/21/01, a long time ago. But I thought that was unique, interesting, funny, different. I guess Andrew Tobias is a liberal. Okay. So there was a time when I had a thing against white cats. Not calico cats, but white cats. One time I spent a week house sitting for one of my professors. And he had a white cat. And it was mean. It was a mean cat. I love cats. I love animals. I tried to get close to that cat. Got clawed all the time. So ever since then, I've had a thing against white cats. Black cat's fine. I've had a black cat. The white cat, it's been challenging for me to bring the white cat into my heart. So I thought about this, and I thought, well, how can I redeem my relationship from that one little subgenre of cats that even the white cat needs love too? And then I thought about, well, what about this whole idea around it's okay to be white, and the conjuring of the fascism and the anti-Semitism and all the stuff that goes along. And I thought, well, why don't I combine the two? Why don't I combine my love and redemption for the white cat and include it into a t-shirt? So this is what I came up with. And the t-shirt is, it's okay to be a white cat. And I thought to myself, this is it. This is how we can solve two birds. We can I want to say kill two birds with one stone. That's terrible in some ways. This is where we can solve this dilemma. This is where we can just slice right through the Gordian knot. That it's okay to be a white cat. And it is okay to be a white cat. Brandon says, I prefer Atto, called a cat of European origins. Atto. I could be a white cat today. Ulyssean. Old word or new word, goes back at least 6,000 years to Sumer. So there it is. There's my example of being a white cat. So I think if we can promote that it's okay to be a white cat, that we could build a bridge between the fear of white cats and the fear of it's okay to be white. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I think this is a way for us to be able to build a bridge. To build a bridge between people who have landlocked ideas about race and language. What do you guys think? Maybe I should start selling this shirt. What do you think? It's okay to be... I would wear this shirt, by the way. It's okay to be a white cat. I'd love your feedback. Love your feedback. What do you think of it? Catism. Catism. You know what happens when you study catism, right? You have to go to catechism. You have to go to catechism. You have to learn the precepts of catism. That's what happens. It's okay to be a white cat. If you see a white cat today, just walking down the street, tell that white cat it's okay to be a white cat. Think about it. That's what's going to happen next. Starts with language, goes to people, then it'll be cats. Might be dogs, horses. Where's it going to end? Let's put a stake in the ground right now. A stake in the ground right now that it's okay to be a white cat. That's what I think. Bumper stickers too. Yeah, bumper stickers. You wear that shirt, that is a declaration of you're willing to cross a line and support white cats. White cat power. Yeah, there we go. It's okay to be a white cat. So if you happen to see a white cat today, let them know. All right? Let them know that it's okay to be a white cat. And maybe I'll start selling these t-shirts. Who knows? I think I would wear one. I would definitely wear one. So we've taken a little trip today down the etymological lane, etymological path, words, language, magic, Nigel Farage, what's happening in Brexit. I didn't even get to the part where Donald Trump might have converted to Judaism. I'll save that for maybe tomorrow. I'm out of here. Thanks for being a part of the show today. And remember, it's okay to be a white cat. Use your head to discern what's real. Your heart see what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday.